Welcome to Dr. Katina Talks, the podcast where we explore the journey to a more fulfilling, balanced, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Dr. Katina, and I'm here to share stories, insights, and strategies that inspire you to live life more authentically. I recently saw a Lighthearted post online asking something along the lines of, what kind of car do you hear that immediately tells you what kind of person is driving it? You know, the kind of post that's playful. Not that serious, just one of those personality-type questions meant for fun. I commented, Mustang. And another woman responded jokingly and said something like, well, then you and I can't be friends. And I replied back in the same jovial tone and said, don't hold it against me, but I actually drive a Tesla. She laughed it off and said, that doesn't matter. I drive a Kia. That was the end of the exchange. It was friendly, light, no tension. And days later, a third person jumped into the thread and said, nobody cares what kind of car you drive. And I felt it. You know, that pull to respond, that urge to explain, that need to clarify that I wasn't boasting, I wasn't comparing, I wasn't doing any of that. I started typing a response, and then I paused. And in that pause, I asked myself two questions. Is this about relationship, or is this about being right? And is this about connection, or is this about back and forth? And once I asked myself those questions, the answers were clear. This wasn't about relationship. This wasn't about understanding. This was about stimulation. So I backspaced. I deleted the entire response, and I chose not to engage. That moment stayed with me because it reminded me how often we give people exactly what they're looking for without realizing it, but not this time. That dynamic doesn't just happen online. Many of us have people in our lives who always need something going on. They thrive on arguments. They thrive on gossip. They thrive on emotional movement. You say something neutral, they challenge it. You clarify, they reframe it. You explain again, they keep picking. And when you stop responding, they don't stop. They escalate. They circle back later. They poke some more. Because what they want is not resolution. What they want is reaction. Now, I would be a bad social psychologist if I didn't jump on this opportunity to give you the psychological explanation of this behavior. So please indulge me for a minute while I give you this short explanation. Now, some people have nervous systems that require high levels of stimulation just to feel balanced. In these people, calm feels boring, stillness feels uncomfortable, and silence feels unsettling. These are often the same people who seek excitement in other areas of life. They might drive fast. They may love roller coasters. They often chase adrenaline. They need intensity to feel alive. And when physical stimulation isn't available, they create emotional stimulation. Arguments become the roller coaster. Conflict becomes the adrenaline. Back and forth becomes the rush. Gossip plays the same role. Gossip keeps things moving. It gives people information to hold and pass along. It makes them feel relevant, connected, and activated. So when you engage, explain, or defend yourself, you are not calming the situation. You're unintentionally fueling it. So as usual, I have 5 life lessons to share with you. 1. Not everyone wants resolution. Some people just want stimulation. We often assume conversations are about understanding, but for some people, conversation is about activation. They are not looking for peace. They are looking to feel something. And once you understand this, you'll stop trying to reason with chaos. 2. Explaining yourself can become an invitation. Many of us believe that if we just explain clearly enough, things will settle. But with stimulation-seeking people, explanation is not soothing. it's an opening. Every explanation gives them something new to challenge. Every clarification keeps the cycle alive. And at some point, the healthiest boundary is not a better explanation. It is no explanation at all. 3. Your nervous system always knows, so pay attention to how your body feels in these exchanges. Tension, activation, exhaustion afterwards. That's your nervous system telling you this is not a mutual conversation. Silence is often the most regulated response because it removes you from a dynamic your body already knows is unproductive. Now, I have to stop here and offer a very important clarification on silence in different relationships, especially for my couples who might think that I'm giving contradictory teaching on its use. So let me distinguish between silence in intimate relationships versus silence as a boundary. I want to be very clear here. Silence is not a one-size-fits-all strategy. In intimate relationships, prolonged silence without explanation can be damaging. I see this often in couples work. One partner pursues, the other retreats. One escalates, the other shuts down. And in those relationships, I don't teach silence. I teach communication. The retreating partner still needs space, but they also need to name the why. I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling threatened. I need a pause, not a disconnect. That builds safety and intimacy. But that is very different from going back and forth with a troll online, or engaging a family member who thrives on gossip, or explaining yourself to someone who just wants a reaction. Silence protects you from chaos. Communication builds intimacy. Discernment is knowing which one the moment requires. 4. Silence is power when engagement feeds chaos. Silence is not what you do when you have nothing to say. Silence is what you choose when you understand your power. It removes the reward. It interrupts the cycle. It gives you your energy back. And you do not owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace. 5. Ask the 3 questions that changes everything. Before you respond, ask yourself, is this about relationship or is this about being right? Is this about growth or is this about stimulation? Will this response bring peace or keep chaos alive? If responding keeps the cycle alive, silence is not avoidance, it's wisdom. When I deleted that response to the internet troll instead of sending it, I didn't feel silence. I felt grounded. I didn't lose my voice. I protected it. That simple moment reminded me that power doesn't always show up in what we say. Sometimes power shows up in what we choose not to say. As we close, I want to stress that there comes a point in growth when you stop confusing engagement with effectiveness. Not every conversation deserves your voice. Not every challenge deserves your explanation. Not every invitation deserves your energy. Silence becomes your response, not because you are unsure, but because you are settled. And settled people move differently. They don't argue for stimulation. They don't feed gossip. They don't keep chaos alive. They choose peace on purpose. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated, I encourage you to notice where you are being pulled into unnecessary cycles. Practice the pause. Ask yourself why. And remember, you don't have to explain yourself to take your power back. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and share this episode with someone who might need it. Until next time, take care of yourself and protect your peace. Bye for now.